Welcome to the Monday, October 4th, 2021 virtual session of the Lake Forest City Council. Will the Deputy City Clerk please call the roll?
Honorable Mayor Pandleon.
Here.
Alderman Morris.
Here.
Alderman Karas.
Here.
Alderman Rummel.
Here.
Alderman Notes.
Yep.
Alderman Preschleck.
Here.
Alderman Gashgarian.
Here.
Alderman Bushman.
Here.
Alderman Weber.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have quorum.
Thank you. I need to read the statement, the obligatory statement regarding the remote meeting. In accordance with state statute, I have made a determination that it was not practical or prudent to schedule an in-person city council meeting because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is why this October 4th, 2021 city council meeting will be held remotely. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. First item on the agenda is report of city officers. Any reports? I believe we have a report from the Public Works Committee, so I will introduce Alderman Jim Preschlack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. And I'd like to thank Mike Thomas and the Public Works team. And 2020 season, and there's variability in all seasons, that'd be a 68% margin on the new pricing. And last year it would be 43% because we got hit pretty hard with storm events. But needless to say, it'd be pretty good business. You know, we're not doing it, obviously, to make a profit. That wasn't the impetus to do this, but it's gravy on top. Again, we have no negotiating leverage. This is a standard contract with standard economic terms for all 54 municipalities. So if you want to sharpen your pencils and come up with new terms and conditions that you think are amazing, very tough to negotiate. And the advice of staff and everybody on the Public Works Committee concurred that this is still a really good deal. We stand to make a profit. And stepping back, even if we just broke even economically, the main driver of this initiative was to provide better, safer streets to all of us in the winter. And we'll likely do that, of course, and still make a profit. So it's a win-win. So Mike's going to just review a couple slides, correct me where I got anything wrong. Mike, please bail me out. Happy to take any questions after his presentation, but this is really a take it or leave it deal. And all three members of the PWC recommended taking it for the benefit of our citizens and the streets and our bottom line. Take it away, Mike.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Mike Strong, if you could put the slides up, that would be great. Thank you. As Chairman Preschlack noted, and these two charts are included in the write-up this evening, we are requesting City Council's approval to enter into the 4-year agreement. 4-year brings us to 2025, and that is when the state will renegotiate their 10-year agreements with all of the other 54 agreements they have in District 1, but they will be doing that with all of the agreements throughout the state. So it won't just be the 54, it'll be everybody. So this is sort of a stopgap. But the two charts, as I noted, review our expenses, how much snow we received in each of those 2 years, and provides then a net amount. As Chairman Preschlack noted, he is correct. We did fairly well our first year, and second year we hung in there as well with about 63 inches of snow. Next slide, Mike. So the new state agreement, compared to the 93,000 that we received each of the 2 fiscal years, has been reduced to 70,000. Again, the first 2-year agreements were developed in the Schaumburg office. They essentially had more leeway and latitude to increase the dollar amount. There was a significant need on their end that we, the city, were willing to fulfill, and we were compensated accordingly. The longer term agreements are developed actually down in the Springfield office. So again, the 4-year agreement, as I noted, aligns with all the other municipal agreements that they have. We went ahead, even though the agreement is essentially the same agreement that we've had the past 2 years. We reviewed it with our city attorney, and actually the city attorney, myself, and the representative from IDOT hopped on a Zoom call for a half hour one day and reviewed everything to make sure everything was the same and consistent, and it is. So we are asking again for your approval to move forward, and we all hope for little snow this year. But with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
It's Alderman Weber. Just two quick questions. The first, Mike, is do you anticipate the cost of salt to remain steady for this next season? And my second question is, has the city had to incur any additional equipment or perhaps upgrade any sort of plows, larger plows to accommodate our needs moving forward? I would think with the 68% margin that Alderman Preschlack shared, that should cover it, but I wanted to ask the question.
Excellent question. So with regards to the salt, we always bring our request to City Council, usually in that March or April timeframe, to request approval to purchase salt for the upcoming fiscal year. We actually work with and we're part of the Lake County bidding program. So ourselves and many other Lake County communities join in. We go ahead and, different than, quite frankly, I don't know anybody else, we actually take delivery of our salt in May. I'm a firm believer of ownership is 9/10 of the game. In that I don't want to order this come November when everybody else is waiting in line for trucking, which right now has proven to be a very big issue. So we have over 2,000 tons sitting here. We've got about 1,000 remaining on the purchase order that we'll be able to purchase throughout the winter. So I think we're going to be in good shape. And then we'll bring it back to you next April and say whatever is left over, great. And can we buy additional X tons? With regards to equipment, City Council this year approved the purchase of a mini loader, which you may have seen uptown. We use 2 of them for all the parking lots and all the parking spaces uptown. We're adding a 3rd one because that is going to take one of our 5-yard dump trucks off of the CBD route, and it'll kick him out to 60 and 43 to help with the 1 truck that we use on those state highways. These 3 miniature loaders, when they're done, they then start hitting all the cul-de-sacs. So we think it's going to be very beneficial, especially in those times where we have heavy snows and that one guy is having a hard time keeping up with it. The final statement, as you noted, yes, if we are able to net any dollars, my hope would be, and this obviously will be up to our city manager and finance director, if there are needs in the future, for example, if we have bulk tanks that we need to replace that hold the calcium chloride or the beet heat, if there's a scale we'd like to purchase and put on one of our end loaders, those smaller purchases, if there's some dollars remaining, that would be helpful to us. But I think we're going to be good for these upcoming 4 years. We're looking forward to it again.
Excellent. Thank you for your comments.
Mike, I just wanted to say, I think we can all remember how terrible those routes were when the state was doing the work. And I appreciate the profit, but the complaints that residents had about those roads having gone away and how well your team did the last few years, that was terrific. So
thank you. I will tell everybody, and I think I may have noted this before, with Route 60 being a concrete street, it freezes up more quickly than the asphalt streets do, than Waukegan does. So we're especially sensitive to that. And our little joke here in the department, our 2 guys that run the snow, our street supervisor and our city forester, Route 60 keeps them up at night because they know how quickly 60 can freeze over, and we call it a flash freeze. But we're very attentive to it, and we're happy that we're providing improved service, not only for Lake Forest residents, but everybody traveling through our city.
Great. Well, that item will appear on the omnibus agenda. So everybody should be up to date on that. But it's been a very successful undertaking. Services improved. We've dramatically improved, and we've saved the city, or earned the city, a fair amount of money in the process. So, and it's helped the state with their problems as well. So a win-win all around. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next committee report is update on the marketing initiatives from Alderman Karras. You're muted.
Thank you. I said, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I said, communications manager Dana Olson and I wanted to bring city council and the community up to date on our programs initiatives. It's been a number of months since we spoke about these, but I think Joe is going to bring up our deck. Thank you, Joe. So the first thing I'm really excited to talk about, building on the success of 2 previous runs of the pop-up. You can go to the first slide. Thanks. The Lake Forest Station pop-up that's in Market Square. We have made the decision to proceed with a 3rd run, which is going to open right after Thanksgiving, November 26th. It'll run for approximately 6 weeks through January 9th. It'll be open on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays again, 11 to 5. In the past 2 runs, we've generated more than $125,000 in gross revenue for about 3,400 transactions. I think if anybody's familiar with this and been inside the pop-up, we raise funds through those sales for nonprofits. We've had approximately 19 nonprofits who have participated in either the first or second or both of these pop-up runs. We will be adding a few more, so look for those. The other exciting element to this is the nonprofits are each assigned a day to volunteer, and on those days they have the opportunity, of course, to interact with the shop goers and talk to them about their organizations, and it's just a great chance for them, again, to come together and interact with people who are interested in learning more about what they do. We'll also have holiday performers and activities around probably once over the weekend. And the other thing that we've seen, I've received a number of phone calls from other communities nearby. This has really become a model for communities who have been inside the pop-up and have expressed interest in how they can design their own initiative. So the next slide, Joe, please. Lake Forest Love, I hope you've all had a chance to be on Lake Forest Love. David Sweet has been really extraordinary at the helm of this. He's our editor at large. We have about 600 subscribers now. Dana put together a newsletter that's mailed out every other week, brings subscribers up to date on recently posted stories. We've posted about 60 stories since the site went live, 3 regular writers. And we're working on a partnership now with students from Lake Forest High School who write for the Forest Scouts. So you should be seeing some regular coverage of high school sports and activities. And so that's just been a really exciting initiative. And, you know, one of the most important aspects to this, and the reason really it came to fruition, is everybody's seen a diminishing, number of news organizations. And unfortunately, as a result, it's very hard to tell your story, to get in front of the community and our market, whether that be, individuals who are residing in town or those who are considering Lake Forest. So it became really apparent to us that we needed to invent our own platform through which we could really shape the perception of our community and talk about the places and the people who really make it up. So this has been enormously successful so far, and we anticipate it just growing in popularity, and we'll be adding a lot more writers to our team over hopefully the next few months. Next slide, please. I'm going to just introduce the dialogue is something that we recognize. This has been in publication for, Dana will correct me, about 20 years, I think. It is mailed physically to about 9,000 homes across the community. We recognize the rebranding, redesign, and content opportunity, and Dana's been diligently working on that with the help of Bill Oakley, who's just a wonderful local designer and artist. So Dana, I'm going to have you talk a little bit about where we are in the process of introducing a new dialogue.
Great, thank you, Alderman Karas and Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. We're really excited about our new redesigned dialogue. You'll see on your screen here some recent additions, and we're updating the look and feel of the dialogue, and we're calling it Opening Up the Dialogue. Since the newsletter is called The Dialogue, but it's just a one-way flow of information. So we're exploring ways we can use the dialogue to start conversations with our residents and start a conversation in the dialogue that's continued elsewhere, either online, on social media, or other places. And so we're incorporating some engagement elements into the dialogue, as well as some more stories, kind of similar to Lake Forest Love, telling the stories of the people in our community who make it so special. So keep an eye out in your mailbox in early November for the new edition of the dialogue.
Thank you. Wow, that's right around the corner. I didn't realize that it's coming up that soon. That's exciting news. So then next slide, please. So this was another important initiative. Again, we identified that there was an opportunity to bring together key institutions that serve the Lake Forest community. It had been some time since there was a concerted effort to organize leaders in these groups. And Dana, over the summer, orchestrated the first coalition meeting that took place at Iowa Farm. And Dana, I'll have you talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you. So the purpose of the Community Coalition is connection and collaboration between the organizations and institutions in Lake Forest. And so our first meeting was at Iowa Farm, and the idea moving forward is that different organizations will host our meeting so that everyone can learn a little bit more about the different organizations and institutions around town. And it's really a chance for getting people in the room to talk about what's coming up, so events, but also other ways that we can work together to serve the community. And so we are meeting quarterly at this point. So our next meeting is at the end of this month, and we're looking forward to getting everybody together and keeping that momentum moving.
And that will be held at a different location. You're going to be rotating locations?
Yes, yeah. The next meeting is at Dickinson Hall. And so it'll be a chance for everyone to tour the facility, do a quick little walkthrough of what services are offered at Dickinson, and then we'll have a chance to meet and chat about what's coming up with the different organizations.
Great, thanks. And the next slide, Joe. So this next one's a new initiative with an incredible influx of new residents, many younger families. We felt the time was right to introduce a new open air market. So we attempted to do that in late summer, early fall, but we've decided to rotate the opening of that to a holiday market. So Kathy Cerniak's been spearheading this effort. And so we are going to brand it as a Saturday market. We'll introduce the first one, which will be a holiday themed market. It will take place at the West Lake Forest train station indoors. And if it's successful, and we hope, we're gonna do everything in our power to, properly brand it and promote it. And if we gain some momentum around it, then we might continue a winter Saturday market indoors over the winter months, and then aim to introduce a Saturday market, an open air market sometime over the summer, and have, something again that I think, really is a reflection of the sophistication of our town, to choreograph something that's a little bit unique and is really differentiated, from some of the other area farmers markets. So we're really excited about that. That we are hoping will open the first Saturday, right after Thanksgiving, and that will run through December 18th. We're looking at the hours of noon till about 3 or 4 o'clock. So you can stay tuned for that. The categories will be a combination of probably canned produce items like, jams and preserves, and also baked goods and some local artisans. We're also talking to organizations, Aloha and Sunset, and local restaurants. We're hoping to take part in this. We're also talking to some nonprofits who might have some participation involved. So very excited to introduce that initiative. And I've been working with the aldermen on the west side of town who've been eager to try to organize an activity that is centered over there versus on the east side of town. And next slide, please. So just wanted to talk a little bit about our internship program. I'll have Dana tell you a little bit about the individuals who have participated in the program, but we rekindled a relationship with Lake Forest College Career Advancement Center, and since have had 3 individuals, and Dana will tell you a little bit about those. We also had a student who was a Lake Forest High School graduate who's at SCAD now. She's an artist, and she participated in an internship last spring into the early summer, and they've all just been extraordinarily helpful, very talented, lots of energy, enthusiasm for the work. So Dana, maybe you want to just share a little bit about what they've been up to.
Sure. So pictured here is Carly. She was our summer intern, and she's proudly posing next to a poster that she designed for Lake Forest Day. And so Carly was with us this summer and helped us with some social media promotion. And this semester, this fall, our intern is Whitley, and she's also a student at Lake Forest College. It's a great way for us to get plugged in with the college community, but also to get some fresh ideas from these students, as well as a chance for them to build their portfolio by helping out with different projects and initiatives at the city. So I really enjoy working with them, and it's great to have some energy and excitement, and we look forward to continuing the relationship and continuing to have an intern each semester moving forward.
Thank you. So lastly, I just want to recognize the members of our marketing committee: Mark Pasquazi, Katie Frecco, Rick Day, Wendy Franzen, Susan Amory, Michelle Hirschfield, and Garrett D. It's really been a privilege to have them involved in meeting on a regular basis and thinking about what initiatives we can create to support our goals for just sort of reinvigorating the spirit in our town. Their talent and expertise has made an undeniable asset to the ongoing effort of shaping an authentic perception of Lake Forest through stories, pictures, words, and innovative ways. Lake Forest today is one of the most desirable places to live and to raise a family, and harnessing the abundance of fresh energy in town really is our best strategy to attracting more families and businesses to Lake Forest. So again, I just want to, again, thank them sincerely for all of the time and effort that they've put into meeting over the past year. I'm really proud of the work that we've achieved in just 12 months, and look forward to continuing to work with them through the remainder of my tenure on City Council, which will be in May. Thank you. If you have any questions for Dana or me, I'd be happy to address those.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer.
That's been a lot's been accomplished in a very short period of time, which is great. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Other questions and comments?
Yeah,
Alderman Preschlack.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer and Dana. I really appreciate it. I want to say, and I talked to Dana, I really like e-news. I think that it's been refreshed and it's very interesting. And, that gets to a little bit of my broader point. I mean, I think it's important to have, metrics to assess the effectiveness of the, the various channels that we have, to reach our citizens, and also, potentially new, I guess, new residents that come in. And so, Google Analytics has very, straightforward kind of metrics for blogs. So I'm just kind of curious if the subcommittee, or if you, Dana, or Jennifer, for the email blasts, are there click-through numbers to understand of the 9,000, how many are opening them, how many are bouncing, on the Lake Forest Love, so Google Analytics gives you lots of information, from page views to average time on page to average page per session to returning visitors. It's just a mining of data. And so to fine tune this over time, I mean, we really have to establish and understand our marketing ROI. And so I'm just kind of curious how you guys have thought about that as a subcommittee, and how you think we should think about it moving forward.
Dana, I'm going to let you address the question.
Great. Thank you, Alderman Preschlack. I will say Monday morning, I am very excited to see our open rates and click-through rates for the e-news. That's what gets me excited on Monday morning. So we definitely keep an eye on the metrics and analytics and use that to inform the type of decisions we make about content moving forward. Alderman Karras mentioned the Lake Forest Love biweekly newsletter that we send out. We pull the top stories from the last few week period from the Lake Forest Love blog to include in that newsletter, so that we're making decisions about what to include based on what people are looking at. And so it's definitely something that we pay attention to and use to make decisions about what content we include and what features to include moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. It'd be great just to get some high level metrics as a council, so for the next update, if you can, show the numbers that, demonstrate the success. There's lots of key learnings that come out of it, but I think as we pour more money into it, we should understand how effective it is. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're right. And the other thing we've done is we've solicited input from residents on, as we go through the design process for the redesign process for the dialogue. Dana put together a survey that was distributed via the e-news and received some very helpful direction on what people read and what's of greatest interest to them. And we've certainly done that through the pop-up to sort of assess the level of interest and what the value has been for just providing the service and the program. So it's I think you're right, Jim. We really, there's sort of two aspects to it, right? There's sort of that hard data that comes from mining, the analytics, but then there's also sort of those conversations that's conversing with the individuals who are receiving, or either experiencing, something that we have developed and designed and presented to them, or, just the experience in general to understand what the value is for them.
Yeah, no, thanks. That makes sense. Thank you.
Alderman Rummel?
Well, I just think we have two pros on the job here with Dana and with Alderman Karas. And I realized that when I open up Lake Forest Love, David Sweet has done a number of those articles, but Alderman Karas has been donating her time, volunteering her time to Lake Forest Love. Many of those articles are authored by Alderman Karas. Much of the photography is done by Alderman Karas. And I just want to recognize the amount of time and effort and how we are indebted to you for your generous donation of your time and effort to put this all together. And I just want to thank you for that. I also, as a person who's not on Facebook or Instagram, and with the latest news, I think I'm kind of glad I'm not. But these, especially the Lake Forest Love articles, are very accessible regardless. You don't have to be on social media. I see them on the bottom of the e-newsletters all the time. And so I don't feel that I'm missing out on anything. And I would imagine there are a number of our residents who feel the same way, who may not be on Facebook or Instagram and can still access this. So I just think you've covered all the bases and have been incredibly innovative in your approach to all this. And wow, the progress you've made has been amazing. And so thank you.
Yeah, thanks. The other thing maybe we didn't mention is Dana's really just done an extraordinary job of cross-marketing with organizations who we either write about or we partnered with, and utilizing all the various platforms, the city, harness platforms. And it's really reinforcing what we're trying to achieve, and we're seeing the results of that effort. So that's really been going great, thanks to Dana's effort and focus on that.
Another shameless plug I'd like to make for the LF Now app, which all of this is accessible through, and is, I don't know, does anybody know how many downloads there have been of that at this point?
I'm sure Jim Shaw.
I can take it. Dale, do you want to take it, or I'm happy to jump in. I think we have a little under 2,200 downloads, which for us has been, I think, far greater than what our initial expectations were. But I think even more telling than the number of downloads is just tracking the analytics on monthly activity. And we're pretty routinely averaging over 5,000 uses of the app per month. So, Dana and her team, along with Jim Shaw and our IT department, do a good job of tracking where that activity is coming from. Certain uses obviously are more popular than others, but really it's been a tremendous success, and we're hoping that as more people utilize the app and then communicate their experience to friends and neighbors, that momentum will just snowball and continue to build.
Alderman Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jennifer, I just wanted to say your talents have really shown here with your leadership with the group, and thank you so much. Dana, a quick question for you. Are we able to reach the new residents through the water bill billing system in order to capture some new emails and, maybe invite them to subscribe to whether Lake Forest Love or the e-news blast? If you can comment on that, please.
Yeah, so we have been using the water bill, and it's a quarterly cycle. And right now we're pushing the Lake Forest Now app. So trying to get people in the app, because that's a place where they can interact with Lake Forest Love, the website, social media, and all sorts of different ways to interact with the city. But in our next rotation, we're considering what message we want to push out for residents. And I think Lake Forest Love is a great idea for that.
I was reading recently the newsletter from the Chamber of Commerce, and they drop, I'm sure, are we putting something in that? They drop off a gift basket to new residents. I assume that we have something in there about the app and about getting e-newsletters and all of that.
Yes, we do, about Lake Forest Love, the e-news, the website, our social media. We have a folder that we put in the new resident welcome box.
One of the one of the biggest sort of aha moments for me through all of this has been sort of the opportunities that Jennifer and Dana have found to leverage and integrate all these different angles, which was something that is, it seemed like it was an opportunity, but I don't think I ever really appreciated how big the opportunity was. So for example, through the pop-up shop, recognizing that all of our not-for-profits in town all do things, we're sort of operating independently, and there was no, I would say no, but there was limited cross-communication between them. And now there's whole organization, this coalition has been created to facilitate that. That's a direct spin-off of the pop-up shop.
Mhm.
So, one good thing leads to another. The same thing with all these different platforms being integrated through the app or through the e-news. And it's just that sort of synthesizing of all these different initiatives is really starting to make a difference. So it's been great to watch, and frankly, not something that I really had my eye on at the beginning of all this, but it's been significant benefits to the community. So great work. Keep up the good job. So
Thank you. Thanks, Dana. Thank you for being available, talking through all this with it.
okay, the next item on the agenda is items for omnibus vote consideration. There are 9 items on the omnibus list today. First is approval of the September 20th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes. Second is approval of the check register for the period of August 28th to September 24th, 2021. Third is consideration of 2 requests to waive the fidelity bond requirements in connection with holding a raffle in the city of Lake Forest. That's an approval by motion. Fourth is approval of the 3rd amendment to the Kemper Sports Management Agreement and the costs associated with the changes. Fifth is approval of the purchase of a new automated vehicle entry gate system for the South Beach Access Road in the amount of $41,043. Sixth is approval to renew an agreement for Citizen Request Management System C-Click Fix, licensing, software maintenance, and additional licensing for a total of $33,706. Seventh is authorizing the city manager to enter into a 4-year agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the plowing and salting of Route 43 from Route 176 to Route 22 and Route 60 from Route 41 to Field Drive for the winters of 21-22 through 24-25. Eighth is an award of a bid for the replacement of 2 CSO pickup trucks for the police department to Miles Chevrolet in the amount of $59,962. And ninth is consideration of ordinances approving recommendations from the Zoning Board of Appeals, first reading, and if desired by the City Council, final approval. Are there any items that any member of the council would like removed or taken separately? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the 9 omnibus items as presented.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Karas,
Aye.
Alderman Rum,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda is new business. I'd like to say a few things about this. It sort of dovetails with some of the things we were just talking about, but I think we're all aware of the planned expansion to reintegrate of Ragdale to reintegrate the entire Howard Van Doren Shaw property under Ragdale's leadership. It's another example, remarkable example of partnerships and collaborations between our citizens, philanthropists, and our not-for-profit institutions. Many parties representing the Hart Lansing family, the Ragdale Foundation, and the city have worked for many months on the details of the proposed land transfer that is now before the council for action. The action tonight is an important step in achieving the long-term goal of reassembling the Howard Van Doren Shaw property, the Ragdale farm. This, like so many projects in our communities, preserves and protects historically and environmentally important structures and land for the long-term benefit of the community, while at the same time enhancing Ragdale, one of the city's many community treasures. I want to recognize the generosity of the Hart Lansing family and thank you all on behalf of the community. Your family's commitment to reassembling the Hart property with Ragdale has made this opportunity possible. And again, it's just another example of what makes Lake Forest so unusual, in that we have these incredibly generous residents and these extremely successful not-for-profit organizations that give us such unique assets and amenities for all of our residents. So I'd also like to thank the Ragdale Foundation. They've been a remarkable steward of the city's Ragdale property. And the foundation, through a generous lead donor, is making this land transaction possible at no cost to the city of Lake Forest. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Cerniak for a quick update of what's being considered tonight, which is to read the official lines, an ordinance approving a purchase and donation agreement with Hart Lake Forest LLC and the Ragdale Foundation regarding property generally located at 1272 North Green Bay Road in Lake Forest, Illinois. First reading, and if desired by the City Council, final approval. Take it away, Kathy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This item that's before you tonight is an idea, a passion really, that has been discussed in the Hart Lansing family for decades. Gus and Margie Hart purchased the property more than 40 years ago. This property, which was originally, as you said, Mr. Mayor, part of the Ragdale farm, they acquired the property and really from the start had the intention of someday returning this to be part of the Ragdale farm. The Ragdale, for those who may not know, the Ragdale campus is located on the west side of Green Bay Road, north of Laurel Avenue. It's a number of parcels. The city owns the majority of the parcels. There are some parcels further to the west that are owned by open lands. And the Hart property is located along the north edge of the Ragdale campus. Just an overview of what is proposed. As you said, Mr. Mayor, for a number of months, various attorneys, both for the Hart Lansing family, the Ragdale Foundation, and our own city attorney, have been working through various documents to really achieve this vision of the Hart Lansing family. What is being proposed is reassembling portions of the original Ragdale farm. The Ragdale farm was the homestead of Howard Van Doren Shaw. The purchase and donation agreement in front of the council tonight will transfer just over 2 acres to the city's ownership, really through the generosity and the fundraising ability of the Ragdale Foundation. The Hart Lansing family will retain about 3.5 acres of the property. And importantly, they are retaining the portions of the property that really require the most maintenance and expenditures. They are retaining a small log cabin that's located on their property, as well as about 3 acres or a little over 3 acres of property to the west of the Hart residence that is in a conservation easement held by Lake Forest Open Lands. Both the cabin and the conservation easement property require regular maintenance and a continuing investment on the part of the family, and the family is committing to doing that. However, looking forward to assure that those resources, a historic resource and an environmental resource, are protected long-term, the purchase sale agreement includes a first right of refusal, with the city being the primary party in that right of refusal, and Ragdale Foundation being the secondary. As I noted, the Ragdale Foundation will fund this purchase. They have a key donor, a lead donor, who will really support a majority of the cost of acquiring this property. The cost is a discounted amount. The Hart Lansing family will be also donating a large part of the value of the property. Importantly, this property, like most of the other parcels that make up the Ragdale campus, will be in the city's ownership at no cost to the city. Pretty amazing. And as the mayor noted, that this really is another example of the extraordinary passion that many of our residents have for this community, and the philanthropic nature of many of those residents. What this transfer property will do will preserve, protect, and allow Ragdale to be enhanced. A small additional piece of this purchase sale agreement is what we fondly refer to as a transfer of the donut hole. It is a very small piece, a small parcel on the Ragdale campus, about 9,500 square feet, that was transferred to the Ragdale Foundation a number of years ago in discussions over many years. Between the Ragdale Foundation and the city, we've talked about the logic of transferring that parcel to the city to just to clean up what is an aberration on that property. This image is in the council packet, but just to talk through this a little bit graphically, the purple parcel on the north side is the purchase donation parcel, currently in the ownership of the Hart Lansing family. That parcel, which is developed with the Hart residence as well as the McCutcheon studio, will be transferred to the city through this upcoming three-party transaction. The smaller purple property is what I just referred to as the donut hole. Again, this property is currently an anomaly. It will also, if this transfer is approved, will become a property in the city's ownership. Why are we bringing you the purchase sale agreement now in advance of some other pieces? Really, we need the council's approval of this purchase and donation agreement before we move forward with associated amendments. Ragdale currently operates under a special use permit. It is located on residential property, and as occurs throughout our community, Gorton Community Center, our churches, our schools, open lands, headquarters, all of those are approved through special use permits. If you choose to approve this agreement this evening, we will continue to work with the Ragdale Foundation to prepare amendments to the special use permit, not only changing the boundaries, but also updating the master plan and really articulating the fact that the use of the Ragdale property will not change, although there'll be some changes on the site itself to better accommodate parking, to spread out the residences, use of the existing Hart residence. Those will all be discussed in a public hearing and fully detailed as part of an amendment to a special use permit. The city also has an operating agreement with the Ragdale Foundation. That document too will need to be updated. So again, in order to proceed with those amendments, we needed to make sure the council was on board with this overall concept of the transfer. Once the amendment process is completed through the public hearing process, both the amendment to the special use permit and the operating agreement will be brought back before the council. Right now, we're anticipating that to come back at your only meeting in December, early December. Once the council takes action based on the recommendation of the Zoning Board of Appeals and after considering the amendments to the operating agreement, there would then be a three-party closing, which would affect the transfer that you would be approving tonight in the purchase sale agreement. And finally, if you choose to do so tonight, it would be appropriate for the council to waive the first reading of the ordinance. I believe it's on page about 47 of your packet. Approve the purchase and donation agreement, waive first reading, as I said, and grant final approval. That ordinance also authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement and authorizes and directs the city manager to enforce and implement the terms of the agreement. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Kathy? Okay, well, good news always has a positive response, right? Okay, well, in that case, I would entertain a motion to approve an ordinance approving a purchase and donation agreement with Heart Lake Forest LLC and the Ragdale Foundation regarding property generally located at 1272 North Green Bay Road, Lake Forest, Illinois. First reading, and if desired by the city council, final approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. A roll call vote, please.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Karas,
Aye.
Alderman Rommel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Very good. Another win for the city of Lake Forest. And, there's more work to do on this, obviously, but this is a critical step. And I appreciate everybody's engagement and support. This is moving ahead with one of our best and most treasured institutions to a new level, which is, the kind of thing that really doesn't happen in very many cities. It's a very unusual thing that we keep experiencing in Lake Forest. It's one of the things that makes it such an amazing place to live. Next item on the agenda.
I was just going to say, those of us who knew Margie Hart, and if Rob and Kitty are listening, congratulations on this. I'm sure Margie is looking down and is very pleased with this transaction. So God bless.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is any comments by council members on anything that they would like to raise? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thanks, everybody. The meeting is adjourned.
Everyone.
See you when you get
Aye.
back.